Then you log into your system as supplier. You will land to this page. So your supplier name will be populated here. So we have the dashboard here. So on the dashboard here, we have the document library we're going to explain. We have the internal users. We have the contract, tender, contract, and reports. So the other part we have already been taken through about the message, business profile, my account, and so on. Okay? So I want to explain this part. So since you are the one managing your account, this part for document library, here is where you can save your documents for ease of retrieval. So you want to see which type of the documents you can save there, because at times you might be in a hurry, then procuring entity has requested you to attach certain document. So if you have already saved them in your document libraries, it's like your email now there, then it will be easy for you now to retrieve that information. So when you go to the document library there, you can save such document like BRS certificate, KRA PIN, NCS certificate, AKIPO certificate. Those are the commonly requested documents for you to provide. And you remember also, it also expires. Some of them expires, like AKIPO certificate, so you need to renew. So even if you have already uploaded and it has expired, you now need to replace. You can also save the financial capacity, audited financial statements. So maybe for the years you have already done, for in case you are doing a big tender, you are requested to attach the financial statement for this period, then you are able now to retrieve it easily from your document library. Again, if you have a big company, you have the employees, the CVs. So instead of calling someone, nitumie CV yako, you already have your employees and have their CVs in the document library. You just upload. You can also have the contract that's already you have delivered in other entities. Maybe you have been told to attach the past similar activities you have undertaken somewhere else. So you have already have those LPOs. So in the document library you have saved, you can now easily retrieve them from there. Again, any additional business document that you need to also to save there, then you can also save in that document library. So at that point, that one, you are clear with that. So we have the internal users. Okay, again, the document we are supposed to upload should be either PDF. Those are the parameters you have been given and the size. So you have to be within the requirements. Okay, the next bullet is internal users. So you might be the director of the company, but you are not going to be the one doing all of the works in the, let's say for the tender issues on the participating on the tenders. So you can assign one of your staff or some of your staff, you assign them roles so that now they can be able now to be checking the online advertised tenders and participate on as a staff in your company. So you can create the users, for example, you can create the secretary, maybe someone in charge of procurement of tenders. So once you have created them in the system, you are going to give them the logins, so they will be able now to have a role in the EGP system you have assigned them. Okay. So the other part is for the tender. So how are you going to participate on the tenders that are advertised? So once you log in the system, you are going to search for the tenders that will be interested to participate. So here, we have the two bullets here. So once you click on the tender and click on the search, we have open tender and alternative tendering method. Okay. So once you click on the open tender, those are the tenders that everyone is open to everyone, can be able to see, and if you are interested in any, you can participate. And remember, not all of them that are in open tenders are eligible for everyone, because it might be an open tender, but it's reserved for a certain category of people. Let's say women, youth, or PWD. So if it doesn't have any reservation, then all of you will participate. Okay? So when it comes to open tender, you have seen it's an open tender, then you want to participate, and then the system tells you you don't belong in this category. Just know that that tender was reserved for either of that group. But if it's no reservation, then all of you, including the Ankipo group and the other group, will be able to participate. So when you go to the alternative tendering, okay, on the alternative tendering, those are tenders that specifically the procuring entity have sent to your company. Let's say the restricted tenders, only there are a few identified suppliers have been identified, so you are sent directly to you. So if you are the procuring entity has sent directly to you, you are going to see them in the alternative tendering. If it's a request for quotation, then you are going to check it in the alternative tendering. So when it's now the alternative tendering, the other person will not be able to see it because the procuring entity has not sent to him or her. So if they have sent to you, then you have to check it in the alternative tendering. Then you will find that tender that has been sent to you. Okay? So we have the other part for the contract. So if you have been awarded a contract, then you will be going to the part of contract for you to receive now the notification of award and any other letter of award. Even now the purchase order will be sent through that that part of e-contract. So we'll be able now to action in that part of e-contract. Okay. So you're also going to accept the contract through the contract button there. So the other part is just the report. So we have the audit trail report. So the auditors are also able to log into a system and they see the process that was done through the EGP system. So you know this system is also linked with the various agencies like ESCC is also part of the system. So all the procurement steps or processes, including the opening, evaluation, and so on, is documented through the system, which such agencies are accessible to it. So any person who has not done his part well, so the system will be able now to track that person and identify who is that person, because nothing in the system will be deleted. All information will be documented in the system. So tracking will be now easy. So there's no way that there's a document that was missing that someone has just plucked from the rest. Like now, maybe previously when we were having the normal tenders in a hard copy, you find maybe an evaluation team, they want to fail someone, they black out your document, and the other one that they want to win, they didn't attach it at that time. So just sneak in and attach until your document has been plugged and you are told you did not provide this. So now in the system, there's no way that someone will interfere with any documentation that you provided. Everything will be now intact. Okay, so we just want to see now the process on how to start the bidding. So the process that we are showing here, these steps applies to across all the tenders that you are going to encounter. So the one that we are going to demonstrate here, just urge you to follow the steps, because the steps on the other tenders remains the same. The process of the steps remains the same, okay? Because we have various tenders, let's say for works, for consultancy services, but the steps are the same. What differs may be the forms that are entailed in that tender. So we are going to see one for the goods, and again we're also going to see the other one for the works. We are going also to see if our tender requests a bid security, how are we going to request that one from the bank through the system. Right now we're going to be working in the bank looking for bid bond, so it will be done through the system. We are going also to see that how we'll be requesting through the system. So here, we are now interested in the open tenders. So we can be able to see our open tenders here. And I'm interested to one. I've seen the Kaimosi procurement plan is entailing some chicken. So I'm interested in that supplying of the chicken. So, okay, so we have this also 3 buttons here. The first button here is View Tender Notice. The other one is Manage Tender. The other one is Download Document. Okay. So before you proceed to the next part, you have to view the tender notice first and see if you are okay with that one, you want to participate. So tender notice will entail this title, procuring entity, the type of category of goods if open tender, is it reserved or not reserved? Okay. So like here we can see it's no reservation, which means everyone can participate in that tender. Okay. So in this part, you might see it when you check on the notice, maybe it's written youth, or written women, or written BWD. So if you don't belong that category, definitely when you go to the next part, the system will not allow you to proceed. So you always check here and see where you belong. If you belong in that category, you are then eligible to participate. So if you don't belong there, then the system automatically tells you don't belong that category and will not be able to participate. So we can go back. So we have the other part. I just want to explain, then I will proceed. We have download document. So if you want to download the document, it's downloadable, because there are some maybe who don't want to just read through the system. They want to download, maybe print, and go through at their convenient time. So the tender appears the same way as it was before. There's nothing that has been introduced, okay? It's only that now we are moving from manual to the system. But the tender document remains the same, even the instruction as it were previously is the same as it is. So if you want to print, you can print. You can view the whole document as it is. So once you are okay, then we want to participate. Interested? So let's see. So let's go back. So I'm interested in the supply and delivery of chicken processed without addition and maize, corn, grains. This is just a demo to demonstrate the process. It's not the live one, it's just for the training purpose. So you now go to manage tender, this button there. So once you go to manage tender, it will populate this page. So this page contains the steps that you'll be following. So move up. So we have the terms and conditions. We have the pre-bid clarification. If there is a clarification you need to be clarified by an entity, you have gone through the document. There's somewhere you're not understanding, you need to be clarified. Then you have a post there. It also has a period that you are given for you to seek any clarification. So if you see the post is active, then you are able now to seek any clarification that you want to be clarified. So if that post is not active, which means the time has already elapsed. Okay. So the other part, we have the mandatory evaluation requirements. So we'll be able to see that. So you can now see here, before you accept the terms and conditions, you cannot proceed. So we are going to see that part before we now proceed. We have the tender preparation. We have now the final submission. The other part for the opening. If you have already participated in the tender and it was already opened, then you'll be able now to receive the opening minutes there. So let's go back up there. So before you start bidding to any tender, you have now to agree on terms and conditions first. So that one will now tell you if you are eligible to participate in that tender or not. Okay? As I earlier explained, if you don't belong that category, then the system will tell you don't belong that category and automatically will not allow you to proceed in the bidding. So if you go through the terms and conditions, then you click on agree, and it's successful, then you are eligible to bid. Okay, so how to agree with the terms and conditions first. Thereafter, now you can start filling from any point until you finish before submission. So here, there's no formula where to start. You can now, since you have already accepted the terms and conditions, you can now start from anywhere. But for us now to go systematically, we want to move from now, we have done the first one, terms and conditions accepted. We now want to go to mandatory evaluation requirements. Are we moving together? I'm too fast or too slow? Then you let me know. So I've just sampled some of the mandatory requirements, which all of us we know. We always have a form which is called self-declaration form, SD1 and SD2. That one is for the quotations and others. So we can see here we have the document reference already in download. There's a download there. So this one comes as a standard form, which is already there. So you need now to download it. You as a supplier, you download it, you fill, and then you are going to upload. So you can see in this column where we have complied or not complied. It's a mandatory for you to choose from the drop down. So we have yes or no. So if you comply, then you are going to say yes, then you are going to attach. So you have to choose from select from the choice that you have been given. So we now see the part for document, upload document is also mandatory. So that one you also need to fill. So assuming now you have this tender, you download the document, then you say yes, you comply, then you are going to select where you have saved that document, then you upload. So for now, for the demo part, we are going to choose just a test file. We assume we have downloaded that document and filled. So the other part requirements also differs because of the different tenders that have been advertised. So let's say you are doing tender for the works. So we have the mandatory requirements the procuring entity will be requesting you to attach. So that one also differs from the tenders that are advertised. So the procuring entity will say which are mandatory requirements that you need to provide, and then those ones are going to be evaluated at the very first stage as we were doing before. So such documents include valid tax compliance, AKIPO certificate, business trading license which is valid, attached certificate of company registration, such of the documents which all of us are familiar with. So there's nothing that will be requested that you don't know in this system. So let us assume we have all this documentation, you as a supplier. So once you are done, you will now submit the preliminary mandatory requirement the procuring entity has requested you to provide. So once you are done, we now go to the next bit where we are now supposed it's called bid preparation, where we need now to fill the forms that are listed there. So as I said, the tender differs. So you can see here we have only a few forms to fill. But when you go to a bigger tender, like for the works, you might be having many forms for you to fill. But they are not new forms that you have never encountered. They are normal forms that you have already been filling. So it's only that are now translated in the system. So we can have here, we have the form of tender. We have the tendering information and confidentiality business questionnaire. We have the schedule of requirement which the procuring entity has requested you, the requirement for them. We have the technical evaluation criteria. They have also told you which criteria they are going to use to evaluate for that item. So as you move down here, we have the price schedule form where you are going to input or to give you a quote for that item the procuring entity had requested you to supply. So before now we fill the form of tender, we all know that the price that we have quoted in the price schedule is the one we fill it in the form of tender. Is it true? The price that we have quoted, we normally carry it in the form of tender. Si tunafanya hivyo? So unasema sasa hii price ambayo umequote hapa ni the same ambayo umeweka kwa form of tender. Si ndio? Yes. So we know now the form of tender is number 1, but we don't know the price we are going to quote. So we want to start with the financial part where we are going to fill the price. Then we know the total price that we have quoted, including the taxes, is what we are going now to fill up there in the form of tender. So we want to go to financial part. So remember we have 2 items here that procuring entity had published and you are interested. So we have the first line, chicken processed without addition. So those are the description. So the quantity is 10. So we have the column for the unit price. So remember the unit price here is the price without taxes, okay? So we have the column to input the taxes. That one we are going to see also. So the price that we are going to put here at the unit price is the price without the taxes. Then we have already input formula. So the system will be calculating, once you input the amount or the figure, the system itself is going to calculate. So here the total price is including column 5, which is this one, the quantity, times column 6. So the system will calculate itself, is going to put the figure there. So we have already inbuilt the capacity building levy amount, so which is now including the column 7. So column 7 is here now, times the capacity building levy, which is already inbuilt there, 0.003. So the system will calculate itself here. So when you come to column 9 here now, it's where you are going to input your applicable taxes. You have already quoted your unit price. Now you are going to input your applicable taxes in figures. You are not going to put the percentage like now 16% or what. You are going to calculate your applicable taxes and then come and input that figure there. So once you input there, the system automatically will calculate now the total tender price, including the applicable taxes that you have already put there. So once you have now gotten the total price, that price you are now going to input or to fill in that form of tender. I hope to copy moja. So you want to fill the first column, for first line for the chicken. You can propose to me how much is the chicken processed without additions. So which amount are you going to put there for the chicken? For each chicken, kuku moja moja, nauza pesa ngapi? So let's say just 1,500, just an estimate. So once you click outside, you can now see the system has already calculated the unit times the quantity. So it's coming to 15,000. Now plus the capacity levy that's already calculated, it's now going to be 4.5. Now from the unit price, you are not going to calculate your applicable taxes. So the amount that you are going to calculate, you are going to input to put the figures there, not the percentage, but the figures that's tax applicable on your side. So once you input there, you can now see the system is calculating automatically, giving you the total tender price. Okay? So we can do the same to line 2, where you have corn, maize, or corn grain. So that one is per kg. So per kg is how much? So we are going to input. Then the system calculates times the quantity that you indicated. Then you're also going to input now the applicable taxes. So once you are done with that, you can see now the system is calculating. So you need now to get the total price for those two lines. So once you get that the total price for the two lines, that's the figure you are now going to fill in the form of tender. So once you are done there, you submit. For it to save, you submit. So you need to also to monitor the message, it's successful. So at times it can bring you an error and then you are just proceeding without noticing. So once you are done, if you still want to edit, you will have this button for editing. Maybe you are wrong somewhere, you can still edit, and so on. So you can see this message down here is guiding you that you have to complete the activities please complete the following activities for final submission of your bid. So if you have not finished filling these forms, the system will not allow you to submit your bid. So once you will be able to fill all the forms, then this message will disappear. So once it disappears, it means you have completely filled the form. But if you have not completed the form, then that error will still remain there until you finish all the forms. We now want to go to the second part we fill. So these are the steps or the procedures that will be also following when you are doing in any other tender. Yes? 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 Mm.
It need also to include the cost of transport. Then we have this aspect of 30% government taxes, because it's not going to include those two. Definitely after they have actually submitted their bid document to the procurement entity, then we have evaluated, then is actually the lowest responsive bidder. When we raise the LPO so that we can allow that supplier to supply, he will definitely fail to supply because he's the lowest but is unable to do what? To supply. So this aspect of transport and 30% also, if you can also encourage them also to be including in their prices, definitely they'll do what? They'll do business with any procurement entity. Thank you.
Okay, that's why I was explaining here. This column has a meaning to each, because this is the price for the unit without the prices. But you have been given a column for applicable taxes. So include all the taxes, including your transport, everything, and then input there. So the price that we are going now to check is the total price. We will be the lowest there. Okay, let me...
Yes, so that is just a guide, because there is a column for total applicable taxes. These are government taxes. So your unit price should be your cost of production, your margin, your transport put together. But you won't include taxes in that column, because there is a column for total applicable taxes. I hope that is clear.
Tuko pamoja?